Do you ever think about how lucky we are? I asked one evening as Emily curled up on the couch beside me. She gave me a faint smile, eyes fixed on her phone. Lucky? About what? Us, I said. Everything we have. I mean, not everyone gets this. A home, love, weekends at the beach, you and me. Her thumbs kept moving over the screen. Yeah, I guess. That wasn't the answer I wanted, but I forced a grin. You guess? I thought you'd say, of course, babe, we're perfect. She chuckled, though it sounded forced. Perfect doesn't exist. Stop being so dramatic. I laughed it off, but her words stung. I used to believe she was my soulmate. I remembered the way she looked at me when we first met, how her eyes lit up when I brought her coffee, how she used to grab my hand on long drives just to feel me close. Now, more often than not, it felt like I was reaching for someone who was already gone. Beach this weekend? I asked, desperate to hold on to the rituals that made us us. Can't, she said quickly. I promised I'd help out at the office. On a Saturday? Yeah, deadlines. I tried to sound understanding. All right, maybe next week. Her phone buzzed again, and she tilted the screen away from me. I swallowed hard. Who keeps texting you this late? She frowned. Coworkers. Stop being nosy. I wasn't. You were, she snapped, then softened her voice. Michael, don't start. I'm tired. I shut my mouth. I told myself I was imagining things. After all, she was my wife. She loved me. She had to. This is just stress. Just stress. But deep down, something inside me was cracking. A few nights later, I woke to the sound of her voice. It was soft, hushed, coming from the living room. My heart raced. I slipped out of bed, careful not to make the floorboards creak, and crept down the hallway. No, he doesn't know, she was saying. I froze by the doorway. He's clueless, always has been, she whispered. Stop acting like we're married. He doesn't get a say in where I go or who I'm with. My stomach dropped. Silence. Then a quiet laugh. A man's voice muffled on the other end. My hands shook as I gripped the wall for balance. Every word replayed in my head like broken glass cutting into me. Stop acting like we're married. He doesn't get a say. She was talking about me. I wanted to storm in, to demand answers, but I couldn't move. My chest was tight, my legs weak. I just stood there, hidden in the shadows, listening to the woman I loved strip away the last piece of the illusion I'd been clinging to. When she hung up, I stumbled back to the bedroom before she could see me. I lay down on my side of the bed, staring at the ceiling, my body trembling. She slipped in minutes later, humming softly as if nothing had happened. Night, she murmured, turning her back to me. I stared into the darkness, my throat burning, my heart broken in ways I didn't know was possible. That was the night I realized my marriage was already over. Emily, we need to talk. My voice shook as I cornered her in the kitchen. She sighed, not even looking up from her phone. About what now? About last night. About what I heard. Her eyes flicked up, cold and sharp. You were spying on me? I wasn't spying, I snapped. I woke up and heard you. You said I don't get a say, that I should stop acting like we're married. Who were you talking to? She set the phone down with a clatter. You're paranoid. I was talking to a coworker. You always twist everything. My chest tightened. A coworker doesn't make you whisper like that. A coworker doesn't make you hide your phone. Her lips curved into a mocking smile. You're insecure, Michael. That's your problem. Insecure? My hands shook. You're sneaking around behind my back and I'm the problem? She rolled her eyes. God, you sound pathetic. Do you hear yourself? Just tell me the truth. I did. No, you didn't. Who is he? She turned her back. This conversation is over. Emily, my voice cracked. I'm your husband. Look me in the eye and tell me nothing's going on. She spun around. Fine.
Nothing's going on. Happy now? The words rang hollow. I felt my stomach drop. I wanted to believe her, but every instinct screamed she was lying. That night, when she fell asleep, I sat in the dark, staring at her phone on the nightstand. My conscience fought me, but my heart was already shattered. I picked it up, locked. She had changed the passcode. Damn it, I whispered. The next day, I waited until she left for work. I followed her car, gripping the steering wheel so hard my knuckles went white. She didn't drive toward her office. She went across town, pulling into a quiet restaurant. My chest pounded as I parked a few cars away. She stepped out, dressed nicer than usual, hair done, makeup glowing. She walked in smiling. A few minutes later, a man joined her at the table. Jason, the name I had seen flash once on her phone weeks ago. She leaned in, laughing at something he whispered. When he touched her hand, my vision blurred. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. It felt like my world was collapsing. I grabbed my phone, snapping a picture through the windshield. Proof. Ugly, undeniable proof. Hours later, when she fell home, I sat waiting at the dining table. "Rough day?" she asked casually, setting down her purse. "Where were you?" "At work." "Try again." She froze, then forced to laugh. "You're still on this? Michael, let it go." I slid my phone across the table. "Explain this." Her smile faltered. She picked it up, stared at the photo, then tossed it back. "So you followed me?" "That's all you have to say?" My voice cracked. "What do you want, a confession?" She snapped. "Fine. I was with Jason. Happy?" My whole body went cold. You admit it." She crossed her arms. "Don't act like I committed a crime. You're suffocating. I needed space." "Space?" My throat burned. "You're sleeping with someone else." Her face hardened. "You don't control me. You don't get a say in who I see." The words echoed in my skull, cutting deeper than any knife. "I gave you everything, every part of me, and this is what I get?" "You smothered me. I felt trapped. Jason makes me feel alive. You never did." I staggered to my feet, gripping the edge of the table. "So all those years meant nothing to you?" She shrugged. "Maybe they meant something once. Not anymore." My heart pounded so loud I could barely hear my own voice. "I loved you more than anything. Then maybe you should have loved yourself first." I stared at her, searching for the woman I married, but she was gone. Only a stranger stood there. I grabbed my jacket, my keys. My hands trembled. "Where are you going?" she asked flatly. "Out," I muttered. "You'll come back. You always do." Her words echoed as I slammed the door behind me. The rain poured down as I walked aimlessly, my shoes soaked, my hair dripping. Cars passed, splashing water across the sidewalk, but I didn't care. Every step felt heavy, every breath like glass in my lungs. I pulled out my phone, scrolling through contacts until I found one name: Michael, my best friend, my last lifeline. I hit call. He answered on the second ring. "Mike, it's late. What's wrong?" My voice broke. "She's cheating on me. Emily, with Jason." Silence. Then a sharp intake of breath. "You're serious?" "I saw them. I have proof. She admitted it." Jesus Christ. "I don't know what to do," I whispered. "Come here," he said firmly. "Right now. Don't stay in that house." I wiped my face, not sure if it was rain or tears. "I can't think straight. Everything hurts." "I know. Just get here. We'll figure this out." His voice steadied me, a faint light in the storm I was drowning in. I shoved the phone back in my pocket and kept walking, my body numb, my soul crushed under the weight of betrayal. For the first time, I realized my marriage was truly dead.
Michael, you look like hell, Michael said the moment I walked into his apartment that night. I feel worse, I muttered, collapsing onto his couch. He handed me a beer. So, she admitted it. No excuses left? She didn't even try to hide it. She said I don't control her, that I don't get a say. My throat burned as I said it out loud. Jesus, he whispered. I'm sorry, man. I stared at the floor. I don't know how to breathe without her. I built my whole life around us. Now it's gone. He leaned forward. Then build a new one. She doesn't get the last word. I nodded, but the words slid right past me. Nothing could quiet the storm inside my chest. The next few weeks blurred into one long nightmare. Emily moved in with Jason almost overnight. I came home one afternoon to find half the closet empty, the pictures off the walls. She left a single note. I filed for divorce. Don't make this harder than it has to be. I laughed bitterly. Harder? It already felt like I was being ripped apart limb by limb. At work, my boss frowned at me. Michael, your reports are late again. Sorry, I mumbled. You've never been like this. Is something wrong? I wanted to scream, everything is wrong, but I only said, personal issues, I'll catch up. I never did. One evening, my sister Laura called. Mike, you can't keep ignoring me, she said. Mom's worried, I'm worried. I'm fine. You don't sound fine. You sound dead. I pinched the bridge of my nose. Emily left. What do you want me to say? I want you to say you're fighting, that you won't let her destroy you. What's left to fight for? She chose him. Her voice softened. Then fight for yourself. You don't deserve this, Mike. Tears pricked my eyes. Maybe I do. Maybe I wasn't enough. Don't say that. It's true. If I was enough, she wouldn't have looked for someone else. Laura was silent for a moment, then said, Come stay with me for a while. Don't sit alone in that house. I can't, I whispered. I don't want anyone to see me like this. Then at least promise me you won't shut us out forever. I'll try, I lied. Weeks stretched into months. I barely ate. Some days I didn't even shower. I stared at my reflection and barely recognized the hollow-eyed man staring back. The whispers reached me eventually. Friends I hadn't spoken to in ages sent awkward texts. Heard about you and Emily. Sorry, man. Sorry. As if that word could patch the hole in my chest. I stopped replying. One afternoon, my father called. Michael. His voice was sharp, heavy. What's going on with you? You already know. Yes, your wife betrayed you, but why are you letting it destroy you? Because she was everything to me. Then that was your mistake. His words hit harder than I wanted to admit. Thanks, Dad. Real comforting. I'm not here to comfort you. I'm here to remind you that you're stronger than this. I laughed bitterly. Doesn't feel like it. You've survived worse. Name one thing worse than watching the woman you love walk away into another man's arms. He was silent. Then said, living the rest of your life as if she's the last woman you'll ever love. I swallowed hard. You don't get it. I get it more than you think, he said quietly. But wallowing won't bring her back, and it won't heal you. Stand up, son, or you'll drown. I hung up without replying. His words echoed in my head anyway. Nights were the hardest. I'd rolled over and reached for her out of habit, only to find the bed cold, empty. I'd lie there staring at the ceiling, asking myself the same questions over and over.
Why wasn't I enough? When did she stop loving me? How did I miss the signs? I never found answers, only silence. So I drifted further into it, ignoring friends, ignoring family, ignoring myself. And for a long time, I wanted nothing more than to disappear completely.
Mike, you can't keep living like this, Michael said one night as we sat in his apartment. I stared at the untouched beer in front of me. I don't know how else to live. Every day feels the same. Empty. He leaned forward. You've been stuck for months. You're letting her win. She already won. She's with him. She's happy. I'm nothing. Michael slammed his hand on the table. Bullshit. You're not nothing. You're choosing to act like it. I glared at him. What do you want me to do? Pretend it doesn't hurt? No, he said firmly. I want you to get up, work on yourself, prove she didn't break you. I let out a bitter laugh. Revenge? Not the kind you're thinking, he said. The best revenge is moving on, becoming someone she can't touch. His words sat heavy in my chest. I whispered, What if I can't? Then I'll drag you until you can, he shot back. The next morning, I looked in the mirror. Dark circles, messy hair, hollow eyes. I barely recognized the man staring back. I whispered to myself, she won't be the last thing people remember about me. That week, I signed up for the gym. Are you new here? A trainer asked as I struggled with the weights. Yeah, trying not to fall apart. He chuckled. Then push harder. Every rep felt like punishment. Every bead of sweat was anger leaving my body. I told myself, one more. For me, not for her. At work, I forced myself to focus again. One afternoon, my manager stopped by my desk. Michael, we're considering you for the Westbrook account. It's big. You think you're up for it? I straightened in my chair. Yes, I am. He studied me. Good. Show me the man I know you can be. That was the first time in months I felt something other than pain. A few days later, I stayed late at the office. That's when I met her. You're still here? A voice asked from the doorway. I looked up. A colleague I'd seen before but never really noticed. Yeah, big project. You? She smiled faintly. Same. I'm Samantha, by the way. Michael. She walked in, dropping her bag on the desk. You always look so serious. I was starting to think you didn't talk to people. I chuckled softly. It's been a rough year. Rough doesn't last forever, she said gently. Her words struck me harder than I expected. I whispered, What if I can't? Then I'll drag you until you can, she shot back. Over the next few weeks, Samantha and I crossed paths more often. She'd stop by my desk, make small jokes, push me to eat lunch instead of drowning in work. One night as we walked out together, she asked, Are you always this quiet or just around me? I smirked. I used to talk more. I guess I forgot how. Then remember, she said simply. I found myself smiling. You don't make it easy to stay quiet. She laughed. Good. At the gym, my muscles ached, but my body grew stronger. At work, I poured everything into the Westbrook account. Nights were still lonely, but not as suffocating. Slowly, I felt the pieces of me coming back. One evening, Michael called. How's my project coming along? Project? I asked. You're my damn project. Don't tell me you're still moping. I laughed for the first time in months. Not moping, working, living. He grinned through the phone. That's what I'm talking about. You keep this up, she'll regret ever leaving. I went quiet. Then I said, I don't even want her to regret it anymore. I just want to win my life back. That, Michael said, is real revenge. That night I sat on my balcony, watching the city lights flicker. For the first time since Emily's betrayal, my chest felt lighter. I whispered to myself, she thought she ended me, but this is just the beginning.
Mike, you've changed, Michael said one night after our workout. I wiped sweat from my face. For better or worse? He smirked. Better. You're actually alive again. Not alive, I said. Just rebuilding. That's life, man. Keep going. At work, Samantha stopped by my desk. You look different, she said. In a bad way? She shook her head. No, like you finally slept and shaved. I chuckled. I guess I'm trying. Trying looks good on you, she teased. I raised a brow. That's supposed to be a compliment? Take it however you want. Every time I felt myself slipping, I remembered Emily's words. You don't control me. You don't get a say. They burned in my chest, but instead of breaking me, they pushed me harder. At the gym, I grunted through another set. One more, I muttered. One more from me. The trainer nodded. You've got more fight than most. Don't waste it. I thought, she thought I'd stay broken. She was wrong. One Friday, Samantha leaned over my desk. So, Mr. Serious, do you ever have fun? I smirked. Define fun. Anything that doesn't involve spreadsheets. Then no. She rolled her eyes. Come out with me this weekend. My brother's hosting a barbecue. Real people, real food, real laughs. You could use that? I don't know. Michael, she said firmly, that wasn't a question. I'll pick you up. I laughed. You're bossy. You need bossy. Saturday came and I found myself in Samantha's car. I feel overdressed, I muttered, tugging at my shirt. You look fine, she said. Relax. It's just my brother's place. When we arrived, a tall guy with an easy grin greeted us. So this is the mysterious Michael I've been hearing about, he said, shaking my hand. And you're? Mark, the better sibling. Samantha rolled her eyes. Don't listen to him. Mark laughed. Come on, grab a beer. Meet the crew. Hours passed in laughter and stories. Mark introduced me to his friends, people who didn't know or care about my past. For once, I wasn't the guy whose wife cheated. I was just me. See? Samantha nudged me later. Not so bad. I smiled. Not bad at all. The following weeks blurred into a rhythm. Work in the day, gym in the evening, occasional outings with Samantha and Mark. My body changed. I saw muscle where there'd been weakness. My career surged forward. I landed the Westbrook account, and my boss called me into his office. Michael, this is the best work I've seen from you. Keep it up. I nodded. Thank you. I'm not stopping here. One night after dinner, Samantha leaned back in her chair. You know what I like about you now? Now? I teased. So you didn't like me before? She smirked. I like that you laugh. The first time we met, you looked like you were carrying the whole world. Now you laugh. I paused. That's because of you. Her cheeks reddened subtly. Don't give me all the credit. I'm serious, I said. You reminded me I still have a life. She looked at me quietly, then whispered, Good. You deserve one. One weekend, Mark dragged me to a hiking trip with his friends. You're too quiet, he said as we climbed. I'm not used to, people. He grinned. Get used to it. You're stuck with us now. I chuckled. Not sure if that's a threat or a promise. Both. When we reached the top, I looked at the wide view of the valley. For the first time in years, the weight in my chest loosened. Samantha joined me, smiling at the horizon. Worth it? More than worth it, I whispered. At night, I still heard Emily's words sometimes, still saw her face, still felt the betrayal. But instead of crushing me, it fueled me. I told myself, you didn't end me. You gave me a reason to rise. And I rose, I did.
3 years had passed. 3 years since the night I walked out into the rain, broken. Now, as I held Samantha's hand, walking across the warm sand, I felt like a different man. She laughed, tossing her hair in the wind. You look lighter, like the ocean stole all your stress. I smiled. Maybe it did. Or maybe it's you. Smooth, she teased, bumping my shoulder. It's not a line. I mean it. We spread out our blanket near the shoreline. The sound of waves calmed me, the kind of peace I thought I'd never feel again. Samantha pointed toward the boardwalk. Ice cream? Chocolate, obviously. She grinned. Be right back. Don't let anyone steal my spot. Who dare? I chuckled, watching her walk away. I leaned back, closing my eyes. That's when I heard a voice I hadn't heard in years. Michael? My eyes shot open. She was standing there. Emily. Her face drained of color the moment our eyes met. She froze like she'd seen a ghost. I stood slowly. Emily. She stammered. I didn't expect. Neither did I. I cut in. Her gaze darted over me, then to the blanket, then to Samantha in the distance. You look different. Better? I asked flatly. Her lips parted, but nothing came out. Samantha returned, holding 2 cones. Double chocolate for you? She stopped, sensing the tension. Who's this? I took the cone, my voice steady. Samantha, this is Emily. Emily's eyes widened. So she's... Yes, I said firmly. She's the one by my side now. Samantha extended a polite smile. Nice to meet you. Emily swallowed hard. Right, nice to meet you too. There was a pause, thick enough to choke on. Finally, Emily muttered, I didn't know you still came here. I don't, I said. This is the first time in years. She shifted uncomfortably. I see. Samantha glanced at me, then at Emily. Do you two need a minute? No, I answered quickly. Emily's voice cracked. Michael, please, I cut her off. Don't. You don't get to. Her eyes filled with panic. I wasn't. You were, I said coldly. Jason appeared then, walking up with a towel slung over his shoulder. He looked older, heavier, like life had drained him. He stopped when he saw me. Mike, he muttered. I smirked. Jason. He frowned. Didn't think you'd see you again. Trust me, I didn't plan this either. Emily touched his arm nervously. Let's just go. But Jason narrowed his eyes. So this is the famous Samantha I've heard about. Samantha arched her brow. Famous? Emily hissed. Jason, stop. I stepped forward. Don't drag her into this. You made your choices. Live with them. He scoffed. So you think you're better now? I smiled. I don't think, I know. Emily tugged on Jason's arm again. Let's go. But she looked back at me one last time, her voice barely a whisper. You look happy. I am. And that's something you'll never take from me again. Her eyes shimmered, and for the first time, I saw regret. Real regret. When they finally walked away, Samantha squeezed my hand. Well, that was awkward. I exhaled slowly. That was closure. She studied my face. You okay? I nodded. More than okay. I've been waiting for this moment without even knowing it. What do you mean? To look at her and not feel broken. To see her and not want answers.
To stand here and realize she has no power over me anymore. Samantha's smile softened. That's because you took it back. Yeah, I said quietly. I did. We spread out our blanket near the shoreline. The sound of waves calmed me, the kind of peace I thought I'd never feel again. Samantha leaned on my shoulder. You know, I'm proud of you. For what? For not letting the past poison you. For building something new. For choosing to live. I wrapped an arm around her. You're a big part of that. I know, she teased. But still, you did the hard work. I laughed. Maybe, but it feels good knowing she saw me like this. Stronger, happier, whole. Samantha tilted her head. Do you think she regrets it? Absolutely, I said without hesitation. But that's not my problem anymore. The sun dipped lower, painting the sky in golden orange. I breathed deeply, letting the salty air fill my lungs. For years, I imagined running into Emily, what I'd say, what I'd do. I thought I'd crumble or rage or demand explanations. But instead, I just felt free. I whispered almost to myself, You don't control me. Not anymore. Samantha smiled. What was that? Nothing, I said, pulling her closer. Just goodbye. And for the first time in years, I meant it.
I was grabbing coffee when my phone buzzed. It was Michael. Hey, man, I answered. You got a minute? He asked. Always. What's up? He lowered his voice. You'll want to hear this. It's about Emily and Jason. My chest tightened. Go on. They're falling apart, big time. I leaned against the counter. What do you mean? Cheating on each other, screaming matches in public, money problems. A buddy of mine saw Jason storm out of a bar last week yelling that she ruined his life. I let out a slow breath. So the perfect couple isn't so perfect. Michael chuckled. Far from it. Word is, Jason lost his job, Emily's been bouncing checks. Apparently, she's been begging her parents for help. I shook my head. And to think she once told me I didn't provide enough. Life's ironic like that, he said. Later that night, Samantha noticed me staring at the ceiling. You're quiet, she said. Michael called, I explained. He told me about Emily and Jason. Her brow arched. What about them? They're falling apart, fighting, broke, miserable. Samantha studied my face. And how does that make you feel? I paused. Honestly, relieved. For years, I thought they were living some fairy tale. Turns out it was all rot. She touched my hand. It's not about them, though. It's about you. You survived. You grew. I know, I admitted. But hearing they're miserable, it feels like justice. A few days later, I ran into Laura at the grocery store. Michael, she said, pulling me into a hug. You look good, healthy. Thanks, I've been working on it. Her voice dropped. Have you heard about Emily? I have, I said carefully. Michael filled me in. Laura sighed. It's sad. She told me once that Jason was her escape. Now she says he's her prison. I raised an eyebrow. She actually said that? She did. She looked defeated. I exhaled. I don't know whether to pity her or just shrug. Laura squeezed my arm. You don't know her either. She made her choices. You're right. For once, I feel no pull towards her. Nothing. That weekend, David called. He said in his stern voice, Son, I ran into an old acquaintance. He mentioned Emily. I braced myself. Let me guess. More bad news for them? Depends how you look at it. Jason was seen with another woman. Emily apparently caused a scene. Ugly stuff. Figures, I muttered. David's tone softened. You see now, betrayers destroy themselves. You didn't have to lift a finger. I nodded to myself. Yeah, watching from a distance is enough. Good, he said firmly. Don't let their downfall drag you down. Let it remind you how far you've come. It does, I assured him. Every day. That night, Samantha and I sat on the balcony. She poured us wine. Michael, do you ever wish you could confront them? Rub it in? I thought for a moment. No. The best revenge is silence. Let them choke on their own mistakes. She smiled. That's strength. It's clarity, I corrected. For so long, I wanted answers. Now I realize their answers don't matter. Their ruin is their own doing. Samantha raised her glass. To leaving the past behind. I clinked mine against hers. To a better future. A week later, Michael called again. You won't believe this, he said. Try me. Jason moved out. Emily's been showing up at people's doors, crying. She even asked one of our old friends if you'd ever take her back. I froze, then laughed. She really asked that? Dead serious. And what did he say? He told her you're happier now than you ever have been, that you've moved on. Good, I said firmly. Michael chuckled. Bet that stung. I hope it did, I admitted, but not because I want her pain, because maybe now she realizes what she threw away. Later that night, I sat in bed staring at the ceiling again. Samantha touched my arm. What's running through your head? She asked. Emily asked if I'd take her back, I said. Her eyes widened. Seriously? Seriously. But the funny thing is, I didn't feel tempted. Not even for a second. I just felt free. She smiled gently. That's because you finally healed. Yeah, I whispered. For the first time in years, I think I have. I looked out the window, the city lights glowing in the distance, and I knew it was true. Their downfall wasn't my victory, it was just proof I no longer needed one.
The ocean breeze brushed against my face as Samantha and I walked along the shore. The sound of waves matched the rhythm of my thoughts. She glanced at me. You're quiet tonight. I'm thinking, I admitted. About her? Yes, I said softly, but not the way I used to. Samantha tilted her head. How then? I sighed. I don't hate Emily anymore. For so long, hate kept me alive. But now, I just pity her. Samantha squeezed my hand. That's growth. I used to think revenge meant watching her suffer, but it doesn't. Real revenge is standing here, with you, stronger than I ever imagined. She smiled. So you found your closure. I nodded. I think I have. Later, we sat on the sand watching the moon rise. Samantha leaned closer. Do you ever replay her words in your head? All the time, I confessed. That night she told me, you don't get a say in who I see. It cut so deep. I felt worthless. And now I realized she was wrong. I did get a say. Not in her choices, but in mine. I chose to survive. I chose to rebuild. Samantha traced circles in the sand. And you chose me. I smiled. The best choice I've ever made. The waves crashed harder. I stared out at the horizon. Funny thing, I murmured. If she walked up right now and begged forgiveness, I wouldn't even be tempted. Samantha's voice was steady. Because you're free. Yes, I said. Completely. My phone buzzed. A message from Michael lit the screen. What's he saying? Samantha asked. I read it aloud. Saw Emily today. She looked broken. Just thought you should know. Samantha frowned. Does that stir anything? I shook my head. Only gratitude. Gratitude that I'm not her anymore. Gratitude that I escaped. Then don't even reply, she said. I won't. I promise. Her story no longer concerns me. I lay back on the sand, staring at the stars. Samantha rested her head on my chest. Do you ever realize how far you've come? Every scar reminds me, I said quietly. Betrayal, heartbreak, anger. I walked through all of it, and I found a strength I never knew I had. She smiled against me. And now you know the truth. What truth? That closure doesn't come from them. It comes from you. I whispered. Exactly. We sat in silence for a while, only the waves speaking. Then I said, I used to beg for answers. Why she left, why I wasn't enough. But the answer is simple. It was never about me. It was about her emptiness. Samantha nodded. And that's why you can pity her without carrying her weight. Yes, I said. She's still trapped in the cage she built. I walked out of mine. The night air grew cooler. Samantha pulled a blanket around us. Michael once told me, I said, that betrayers destroy themselves. I didn't believe him back then, but he was right. She ruined herself, and I rose. Samantha looked into my eyes. So what do you call this moment? Closure, I said firmly. Pure and simple. The tide inched closer, touching our feet. I closed my eyes, breathing in the salt and freedom. She told me I didn't get a say. Samantha's voice was gentle. And? I opened my eyes, staring at the moonlit waves. She was wrong. I got the final say in how my story ends. Samantha kissed my cheek. And how does it end? With peace, with love, with a life she can never touch. The waves roared like applause, and for the first time, I knew it was over.